That's cool. Great.
Right.
My name's Alex. I'm 42 and the Advice and Information Officer for AbilityNet. I've been here 11 years in Two Girls, and I love my job because as a slightly disabled person, I've got a real empathy in trying to make sure that everyone has the best technology around, because I know how difficult it is to be in school, to be told that you've got to get these notes down, and to be physically unable to do it. Basically, I don't have on my fingers. But put me in front of a computer, and I can do whatever I want to do. I've got a degree, I've got a HND, various other qualifications, and using the computer is so important for me, both in work and in my social life as well.
Great. I'm just Alex, I think we're going to have to, as you said, we're going to have to mute me and you when the other's talking. So I've got a couple of comments for the questions, and then we'll move on to the content. So that just this bit of housekeeping. You should be in listen-only mode. If you are going to ask a question at the end, we may switch over to voice, but usually we ask you to do that through the questions and the chat box. It says there's an echo. I'm hoping that that's because Alex and I are both talking at the same time, and that will go away if I start muting me and then Alex, although we are going to try and have a conversation, so that might not work each time. But for the person who said there's an echo and finding it a bit hard to follow, if you could let me know in a few minutes if it's still a problem, we might have to try something different. And if anybody else has an issue there, just let me know, please. Okay, so I'm the marketing manager. I work across AbilityNet services. We provide a range of services to disabled people, including a free helpline that Alex staffs. We also have home visits. We can send out volunteers from our IT Can Help network to provide support at home. They can do remote and support in the house. For disabled people, we also have a load of fact sheets. We're going to talk about the fact sheets today, and we're also going to talk about MyComputerMyWay, which is one of our primary resources that will help you learn more about what adjustments can be made. So today, what we're going to cover is some common questions from our helpline. Alex, I'll bring you back in a second. Alex staffs the helpline, and as I say, it's one of a number of areas, one of a number of services that we offer to disabled people, and it's directly to disabled people themselves, but also we get a lot of calls in from professionals and charity support workers and family and friends and so on. I'm just asking for help around using computers, and we're unique in the sense of a disability charity in that we cover every disability. Most charities have a particular disability that they specialise in. We cover all disabilities, and we cover all mainstream computer systems and technologies. So Windows, Mac, iPods, iPads, tablets, Android, those sorts of things we can offer advice on. We also have a lot of expertise in specialist hardware and software that may be relevant for particular people. Lots of assistive technology and specialist hardware and software that people use for any particular reason. And Alex is really at the sort of forefront of answering questions on a day-to-day basis. So he's going to be ideal today, I hope, to answer your questions as we go along, and also to give you some advice and information about the sorts of common changes and adjustments that we make. If you do want to ask anything as we go along, please do ask, particularly if you don't understand something that we've said. I will round up any general questions and ask them at the end. But if there's anything at all as we go through, then please just use the questions or the chat box to let me know that you've got a question. And if I need to, I'll jump in and clarify anything that you found needed clearing up. Okay, so Alex, I'm just going to hand over to you. Could I get you to tell me a little bit about your role and the sorts of questions that the people are asking you, the sort of numbers of people that are coming to us every day?
Thanks, Mark. So I know it's a cliche, but every call's different. And this morning I've had a couple of IT Can Help requests. a call from someone who's had dyslexia and a call from someone who's got motor neurone disease. And I'd say that throughout the week, you tend to get a few calls on a particular subject. And especially if it's been featured, say, in the press or on TV or on radio. It's great because you never know what you're going to get when you answer the phone. It certainly keeps you on your toes.
Thank you. And in terms of your own sort of network of support, where do you go when you're stuck? Who gives you help when you need some particular technical or expert specialist input?
I tend to talk to a lot of the suppliers of equipment and say, yeah, I've got a client who needs a particular piece of equipment. I'm not sure what's available. Can you go out and can you assist them? And by, they're very, very helpful because they know that we try to help them. But what I would say is that we're not always the best people to talk to, but by years of experience, you get a good idea of who to signpost people towards. So for example, my colleague took a phone call this morning, and I've spoken to this lady on a regular basis, and she's got issues that we're not really the best people to talk to, but we're quite happy to actually signpost them off to other organisations that are more able to deal with inquiries. I think we're very clear on what we are, and we're also very clear on what we aren't and what we don't do.
Great, thank you. And we've got a couple of screens here just to show people two resources that we're going to talk about a lot today. I'll just talk through this one, and then I'll let you tell me about the fact sheets. This is MyComputerMyWay. You can find it at mycomputermyway.com. It's a standalone website which is integrated into our site in the sense of the look and feel, the color schemes and so on, but it's actually standalone in the sense that all the information is whole and managed separately. It covers the four main headings there: vision, hearing, motor, and cognitive disabilities and impairments. And it's a very practical guide to the adjustments that you can make across all mainstream computers, desktop computers, laptops, tablets, and mobile smartphones. And it's maintained by our team internally, and we present it through this system, and we will actually go clicking through this in a little while to show you how it works and the way that it works. But it's available free on our website, and we've also it's a commercially available tool as well, and we've just, for example, sold it to Barclays, who've integrated it into their site to provide information to their customers. So one of the ways that we generate income for our free services is that we sell services to business, and this is an example of something that we sell and can be rebadged as a Barclays service. So it's a very important tool for us, and it contains a huge amount of knowledge and information, and we maintain it. Whenever a new system is brought out, we update the information that's in it. Now, Alex, the other one that I know that you spend a lot of time looking at is the fact sheets. Could you tell us a little bit about the fact sheets and the range of information that's in them?
Sure. We've got about 35 different fact sheets on a range of different topics. So as you can see, we've got autism and computers, communication aids, right through to visual impairment and tablet computers. And normally the pages are, or the fact sheets are 3 to 4 pages long, and as marks going to them, one of the marks can scroll down. Yeah, that's cool. So we've got really useful ones like learning difficulties in computers. We've also got a fact sheet called funding for an adapted computer. That's one of the particular issues that we get an awful lot of the time. Another one that you might want to refer to is dyslexia and computing. And basically that gives you an overall summary of what technology is there. So if Mark can scroll up just a bit, okay. So for example, if you wanted to know about, I don't know, if you wanted to know about home phone checking, it says built-in, and where does that sound similar but spelled differently? It tells you that Clara Read and Text Help Read and Write are two packages that you might want to go and look at. If there's anything you don't understand on the fact sheets or need a bit of clarification on, there's always someone from Monday to Friday, 9 to 5, on the end of the ANI line who can help you out. And if you've got any issues, we'll be quite happy to talk to you.
Thank you, Alex. Let's go back over to the presentation. So I'm going to jump into the website from time to time, just to give you some examples. But I think what we're going to do today, Alex, particularly, is pick on 3 topics that really illustrate the range of adaptations that we can guide people to. And we're going to start with dyslexia and this rather mixed bunch of people that you've suggested we pull up on here. Can you tell me a bit about the sorts of calls we get about dyslexia and exactly why we've got these this range of people up here on the screen?
Yep. Okay. The reason why we've got all these people on the screen is because a lot of people say, "Oh, well, you've got dyslexia. You must be stupid." Now, you're not going to tell me that Richard Branson's stupid, or Steve Jobs was stupid, or Churchill, or Einstein, or even Tom Cruise. Odd, yes, but not stupid. And the point that I'm trying to make is, with the right support, you can go on and achieve. And what I would say is that part of what we do as an organisation is to empower people to actually go out there and get done what they need to get done. And computer technology can actually make the playing field a lot more level. So it can actually mean that you don't have to do all of the work that makes you tired. You can actually get the computer to do some of the work for you, and I think that's really, really important.
And what proportion of people do you think, in terms of your dealings on the helpline, what proportion of people do you think are asking for help with dyslexia?
I would say over 50%. And what's interesting, Mark, is that some people might say to me, I've got real difficulties reading and writing. I haven't been tested as having dyslexia. I just find it really hard to read and write and organise my thoughts and maybe sequence information. Now, I'm certainly not medically qualified, but yay to me, or it's been proved that some of those issues are traits of having dyslexia. So even though they aren't identifying themselves as being dyslexic, I get the impression that they certainly are, but haven't got a label so far.
Well, certainly in other areas, I know we do a lot of work in the workplace and, working with employers to provide support to employees with disabilities. And when we're talking to employers about this, we suggest that there are, I think, 6 million adults have some form of dyslexia a large proportion of which will be in the workplace, and to some large extent will be fully functioning and may or may not be identified as having a dyslexic related need. And I think the estimate within that is that 4 million people have some form of dyslexia that's severe enough to be affecting their day-to-day work, but whether or not they've learned to adapt to it, or whether they are too embarrassed to talk about it or wouldn't disclose it because they fear that people would judge them for that. I think dyslexia is a very common issue. And certainly across the website, this particular page, Dyslexia and Computers, it gets almost as many visits as the rest of the site put together. And so in terms of the demand and the interest in this topic, I'd say dyslexia really stands out head and shoulders as an issue that people are looking for help with, where they maybe don't know how much the computer can be helping them. So moving on to the sorts of support, can you tell us a bit about the sorts of help that you recommend to people? I mean, obviously it depends on their needs, but what sorts of things are you suggesting that they could do?
I think what I would say as well, to follow up on your comment, is that a lot of people ring us up and they might have been in jobs for 10 or 15 years, and suddenly their job's changed and they've got to do a lot more writing than before, and suddenly they think, oh no, what do I do? I've got dyslexia. How do I keep it secret, or do I tell my boss? I always say to people, look, go and take advice from the dyslexia charities, but go and talk to your HR department and explain the situation, because dyslexia is covered under the DSGA, which means that your employer needs to make reasonable adjustment. Now, there are lots of things that you can do just off your own back to make things a lot easier. So we've just picked three main issues where you can do what you need to do to make it easy to understand work. The first one is changing the screen color. So lots of dyslexic people like to see a particular color on the screen with particular pieces of text, and so they might want to have, yellow letters on a blue background, or white letters on a black background. It's also really useful to work on whatever the best font is. So an Arial font for a lot of people is dyslexia friendly, something that's serifed, like Times, something that's without a serif, like Times Sans Serif, with all the twiddly bits on the end, isn't that great for people with dyslexia. And also changing the background color is really, really important. I think the first one ought to say text color, actually, because background and screen color are the same. But you can change the foreground color. You can change the background color to whatever your requirements are. And it's quite interesting because this screenshot here was one that I did yesterday. I prepared it earlier. So you can see on Windows 7, you've got quite a lot of different colors. And if you want to have a red background for window text, you can. If you want to have, a grey foreground text, you can do that. So it's dead easy to choose.
Great, thank you. And then, so those are the sorts of changes, obviously, that people can make. In your experience, do people know about these options when you're offering them advice?
If only I had a pound coin for every time I talk to people about these are access settings. People say to me, wow, you can do that. I don't need to go and buy expensive software. This is dead easy. Why didn't I know about this before? And it's a really difficult question to answer, but I would take the view that computers are standard, you're not, but you can actually make those changes that you need dead easy.
Yeah. So the answer to how they could find this, of course, is that in terms of My Computer My Way, is the My Computer My Way contains clickable links. I'm just going to show you an example. I'm going to go back across to My Computer My Way. So this is the home page of My Computer My Way. You follow the links. You want to see the screen. You want to change your colors. Change the colors on your computer. You were looking at Windows, and this is Windows 8. It's showing some screen grabs of Windows 8, but they actually take you to the same place that you were looking at. There you go. There's the Windows 7 version. So you using My Computer My Way, you can follow through the stages from to find the right menu settings, and then you can go in and experiment with it yourself. So I'll just show you that again, how easy that was, just getting through. On the front page of My Computer My Way, it's something to do with seeing the screen they want to change. One of the options is changing your colors. I want to change the colors on my computer, and therefore I click through, and I find Windows 7 or 8 and Windows 8, which is what you were using there. And Bob's your uncle, there's Windows 8, and further down is Windows 7. And between versions, the principle will probably stay the same. It's just that the menu may change its name, or it may be, I mean, often, for example, with Windows 8, there might have been a significant shift in how you actually access the menus, but when you get there, they're the same. It might just be the opening point isn't quite so easy to find, or the setting page has changed. You can see the settings page here has changed color. So that gives you an example of how you could use My Computer My Way. And then also, not to forget the Dyslexia and Computing fact sheet, which is obviously a primary resource for us in terms of helping people out. Alex, you've got an example here. Could you just talk us through you know, what happens when somebody calls with dyslexia, using this as the example?
Okay, so we've had a call from John, and he might be university or school, and he's got dyslexia, and he really finds certain text sizes and styles and fonts difficult to read. So Times New Roman isn't that great for him. So he asks us what he can do to make those changes so he can get a Helvetica narrow font where he can read the text in a lot more confident way. He doesn't need any access technology, he just needs that little 5% of help. So we steered him towards the MyComputerMyWay website, and it gives him nice easy step-by-step instructions on how to change the fonts, and John's well happy because he can read text and do social networking or whatever he needs to do in a much more relaxed and less tiring way. Now, of course, you can also change the font color or the background color, and again, My Computer My Way will show you how to do it. Just a couple of useful resources. One of the things that we find is that there's quite a lot of emotional baggage associated with people who have dyslexia. In fact, I was speaking to someone who was like in his 50s, and for all of his life he's just been told that he was stupid and he was good for nothing, and then he ended up having a dyslexia test, and so now that's empowering because he knows he's got dyslexia. He knows he's got certain ways of thinking about it, and he knows he's not stupid. Now, we don't get involved in any testing or counselling, but people like the Dyslexia Action or the British Dyslexia Association, it's worthwhile contacting. And if you're at school and if you're mum and dad at school and your child's got dyslexia at school and you just need a bit of extra support, it's worthwhile talking to the parents partnership team as well, because they can advise you on provision that's in school.
Great, thank you, Alex. And again, just to emphasise that the sorts of signposting and other help that we can offer will, obviously depends on the sorts of help that people are asking for. We've picked dyslexia because it's a very common issue, but also I think that a lot of people will call not necessarily knowing that that's what it is that's causing the problems with their reading. So we don't start with the fact that they've got dyslexia. We start with the fact that they can't see the screen very well, or they're having trouble reading text, and provide a couple of different solutions. But it may be that leads them on to actually getting specialist help of some kind from somewhere else. Another example, really, along the same lines, changing the text size. There are a whole number of reasons why you might want to change the text size. Alex, you've got an example here. Could you tell me a bit about the sorts of people where you mention text size? I mean, are there particular conditions or needs that come up that typically you try and suggest this would be a way of helping them?
So everyone's got an auntie somewhere. An auntie Enid hasn't got a disability, but she says, you know what, I can't see the screen as easy as I once could. And I order my shopping online, but I'm having real difficulties in doing that. Now, you could say, okay, well, let's see what we can do to make the text a bit easier to see, so you can still be independent, because using a computer certainly makes you independent. And what you can do, just with a few clicks, you can actually show people how easy it is.
Great. So you're gonna give us some examples, I think, of changing the text size. But you've got some. We're going to go and have a look on MyComputerMyWay in a moment. But I really liked your tips that you had here. Just so when people are going to look at these, because we're going to see that there's lots of options. I think you provide a couple of tips about how to go about it before you start diving in.
Okay, so the AbilityNet top 5 changing the text size tips are: number 5, don't be scared to experiment with changing the text size. So you can make it bigger or smaller, and as long as you do it in step by step, you ought to be able to go back. If it's too small, enlarge it, and if it ends up being too big, you can always reduce it. Make a decision. Do you want to decide whether you want to make universal settings or change the settings in particular pieces of software? Do them one by one. Don't make wholesale changes because it will make it a lot harder to go back. So if you do one change and you don't like it, you can always step back. If you make 10 changes and you don't like change 1, you've got to undo all of those extra changes.
Okay. So I'm going to switch back across to MyComputerMyWay again. This is an example where it isn't condition related. There could be a whole host of reasons why you'd want to change the size of the text. So this very much comes at it from the point of view of the practical change you're trying to do. So here, right at the top of Vision, is making text larger. You could be making the text larger on your mobile. This is an interesting one. When you're trying to read your text messages, I wear glasses which have come on with age, and I have my magnification turned up on my text messages so that I can read my messages more easily if I'm out and about and haven't got my glasses on my nose at that particular moment. But the number of times that friends sit next to me and start laughing and then realise that they actually need to be able to do the same thing as well. And on your mobile, I've had an iPhone and I've currently got an Android phone. And even between the two versions of Android that I've had installed, they came out differently. You found they were put in a different place depending on whether I was doing my text messaging or running across the whole system. So this is a good example of something where a very current and up-to-date piece of information This has been updated recently for Android KitKat, which is the latest version of Android that you'll find on a huge number of phones. I think Android is installed on as many phones as any other system, all the other systems added together now. So on your phone, just being able to pick up your phone and read your texts or your incoming emails, whatever it is, here's where you can change those settings. So that's a very simple example. And then equally, you can see there are lots of examples here for the other phones and other systems that are out there. And then if we go back a step, you can see that it's also possible to change them in Office, just to, if you only want to do it when you're working in Word or on a particular program, then again, this will provide you with some tips about where the settings are, because they'll be particular to that particular program. So hopefully that gives you an idea of what's inside MyComputerMyWay, but also sort of part of that sort of solving that problem is working out where it is you're trying to do it, which is the most appropriate change to make. Right, and then finally, Alex, this is something I think you offer advice around a whole number of different conditions. We've got a thing here about slowing down the keyboard. We've picked Parkinson's because that was something that we did recently, a whole series of resources around Parkinson's. But I mean, presumably there are lots of different reasons why people might want to slow down the keyboard.
Yeah, so you might have Parkinson's, or you might just be elderly and your coordination's not as great as it was. You wouldn't say that you had a condition, but you're just not as good on the keyboard as you once were. You might have MS. And one of the reasons that we picked Parkinson's to do as a monthly topic was we must get about I don't know, 8 or 9 calls a week from people that have got tremors related to Parkinson's or MS. And for those sorts of people, it's really difficult for them to control the computer, and they want to know what they can do to actually make things a bit better. So for example, my dad's had Parkinson's for a couple of years, and most of the time he's okay. But I told him that it was possible for him to actually get some support, trying to actually change the way that the keyboard works, and he was quite happy. He was quite happy about that. So there are lots of things that you can do. There are lots of things that you can actually do to actually make things a little bit easier for you. And it's worthwhile looking at various things that you're able to do. So if Mark can click on the keyboard and mouse icon, I can work you through. So here we've got 5 sections. Mark, can you mute yourself, because all I can hear is my echo. Okay, that's brilliant. Thanks, Mark. So here we've got changing the keyboard settings. So let's just have a look at that. So if Mark could click into changing keyboard settings, that would be great. Okay, so really, we cover all the major sorts of computers. So Windows 8.1 is the new version of Windows. Windows XP is the oldest version of Windows, and we've got Vista, and we've got also Apple OS X as well. And it's all about you regaining that little bit of independence when using a keyboard. Okay, so as you can see here, you've gone into the Apple OS X. And I think Mark's looking at the Mac 06, and basically it's the same idea. You change the repeat speed down, and what you can actually do, you can actually change it on the keyboard.
Okay, Alex, are you there?
Yep.
Okay. So that's those examples. Sorry, I'm going to mute you now. I think you've also got some example here about what you can do in the window. So I'll mute me and
Okay. Okay. Basically, what I wanted to what I wanted to show you was the on-screen keyboard. No, the on-screen keyboard is actually really useful for those people who actually can't use a standard keyboard, and actually need a little bit of support trying to get words down. So this is the Windows 7 on-screen keyboard, and basically the situation is that you can do word prediction. So at the top you've got democracy, democratic, demonstrate, and it's just a bit like using word prediction on your mobile phone. And this is free and built into Windows.
Great, thank you, Alex. Right, so we've been through a number of different headings there. We've got dyslexia, changing the speed of your keyboard, changing the text size, and that's just the tip of the iceberg. I think hopefully you're beginning to realise that depending on what the person is trying to do, who you're trying to help, or if you yourself are trying to work out your options, you may need to try a couple of things. As Alex said about changing the keyboard settings and text size, do it one at a time. Don't just jump in the deep end with everything in one go, because you very often will find yourself, if nothing else, find yourself unable to get back to where you came from without restarting the computer. But there may well be a number of different adjustments that will help you depending on what it is you're trying to do, and hopefully either MyComputerMyWay or the fact sheets may be useful. But of course, there are lots of other specialist resources around. For example, the Dyslexia Association that we linked to, and you might find your route from our more general advice, or link in through and find the menus and work out what you're doing for yourself, or you may find that you need to then step on from there into more detailed information relating to a particular thing you're trying to change. So final thing then from us is just to see if you have any questions. We're interested in helping people to adjust their computers. You're welcome to ask any questions you have about adjustments you think may be relevant and how they could be made. Or it may be that you just want to know more about some of the information that we've covered, and just to reiterate some of the advice that we've offered there, or any other questions that you have. Feel free to ask those. You can ask on the question box or in the chat on the control panel for the webinar, and we'll answer the questions here. So the first one I've got, Alex, I'm going to ask you this, is how commonly, how many people ring in around visual impairment, and what's the typical advice that you offer for people with some kind of visual impairment, other than adjusting the text size? Are there other tips that you offer? So just about, if you could help us with that.
Yeah, so in terms of visual impairment, it's a massive area. So you might get someone who wants to magnify the text. You also might want to do changing of the you actually might want to you actually might want to also sort of make the text smaller or bigger. You actually might want to magnify the text, or you might just want to resize the window. All of those things that you can do make it easier to actually um, use the computer and regain your independence. So it's not about spending lots of money. So, for example, we've got here making the mouse pointer easy to see. We've got using your own style sheets or making your device talk to you. Everything in there is built in to Windows. So as you can see here, you know, you've got things on Apple, Snow Leopard making your computer talk. We've got a little bit about screen readers. So basically where the computer will actually talk out to you and tell you what's going on. Okay, Windows 7 comes with a package called Narrator. It's not that great, but it's a nod into screen readers. In fact, Mark, can you just go back and have a look at making your mouse pointer bigger? Yeah. So for example, and click on adding trails to your mouse pointer. So for example, that's a really useful thing to be able to do. So you've got mouse tails. So when your mouse zooms off, it's just that little bit easier to see. Doesn't cost you anything. And as Mark's looking at the website, it's dead easy to do. 3 or 4 minute job. That's the thing that might actually you know, sort you out.
Thanks, Alex. I think the other thing I would mention from the point of view of visual impairment, particularly for from the point of view of our experience with our colleagues, we have somebody in our team who's completely blind, and he uses his phone. He talks to his phone talks back to him, and he uses that actually much more than he uses a desktop computer when he's a laptop computer when he's out and about. He mainly takes his phone, and the changes in technology related to any particular impairment may be quite dramatic over the versions of software. So when the new iPhone came out, he jumped onto that because it had a whole load of features built in. And then each progressive, I think that was probably about iPhone 4. Then he had Siri came along, and he started using Siri for answering lots of questions that meant he didn't have to browse the internet. And I hadn't thought of that being what you would use Siri for, but he said it's much harder for him to go out on the internet and look for answers. If Siri brings back the wrong answer, he just asks a different question. Whereas if he's out on the internet trying to navigate websites, then being able to talk to your phone and get it to give information back is very helpful. And of course, that doesn't have to be true just for someone who can't see. It could be true for anybody. So those sorts of systems which are coming along now will become more intelligent and provide us with information in a new way. And those systems will have an impact, I'm sure, on the way in which people use computers, whether it's our phone or our iPad or our tablet or our desktop computers. All of those computing power is changing all the time. A couple more questions. Do the fact sheets cover mobile phones? They largely do. They're not necessarily bang up to date. The most up to date information we have at the moment is in MyComputerMyWay. Some of the information in the fact sheets will be relevant to mobile phones. Some of it may not be completely up to date with the latest systems. But yes, we do consider the mobile phone to be part of the computers that we help people with. We've got a whole range of information about Windows Phone, Android, and iOS 7, and 8 has just been announced, and so that's the content that they'll be working on to be released sometime in the autumn. And that certainly covers voiceover and talkback and the associated systems. Somebody in Scotland is asking whether we offer home support to clients in Scotland, and yes, we do. We have a network of volunteers I'll just show you where that is on our website. We have a service called IT Can Help, a network of volunteers called IT Can Help that do home support. And we've got IT support at home. Here we are. And in here, there's a way of contacting us. You use the request form, and somebody will then get back to you and ask about what help you need, and we'll try and find one of our volunteers to come in. It does depend on where the volunteers are in terms of how close we can get to your home, but we might well be able to do something remotely over the telephone and using other remote software if that's what's appropriate. Another question here. Does Windows have any voice-activated software built in similar to Dragon? It does, but it isn't as good as Dragon, but it does have it built in. I think that's what Alex was mentioning a moment ago when he was talking about, where were we, here somewhere, wasn't it? In the talking to your computer, make a device talk to you. This is a narrator. It isn't the same. It talks back to you rather than you talking to it, but it does have some parallel with being able to talk into it as well. It does have voice commands associated with it, but I don't think it does text to speech, speech to text in quite such a sophisticated way. Although I know that Dragon is available for free on mobile phones, so I don't know whether it's also available in anywhere else. I'll come to Alex on that one in a moment. Somebody just confirming that Siri was very helpful for somebody with dyslexia for similar reasons. And then I've got a couple of questions here I'm going to roll up and switch over to Alex. One of them is, do we have any fact sheets on using JAWS to output to Braille? I don't think we do necessarily, but Alex will know the answer to that. So I'll come to Alex on that one. And then the other one, Alex, is if you can just confirm or otherwise about how Windows does voice activation similar to Dragon. I'm unmuting you now. So.
Okay, just a couple of things. What I would say is that I have an Android phone, and I have the Android equivalent of Siri, and it's called Evie. And Evie is quite good, but it does have its limitations. So, for example, if you ask Evie where the nearest hospital is, to here, it tells me that the nearest hospital's at 1.5 miles away, but actually it's a hospital that you can go around and wander because it's quite a nice old building. Now, if you're having a heart attack, the last thing you want to be doing is wandering around looking at the nice building where there's an accident and emergency department about 0.5 mile away. So what I would say is that artificial intelligence is good, but you should not rely on it totally because sometimes it doesn't give you the right information. And as far as Windows, talking to Windows goes, I wonder if, Mark, you can go up to the top of MyComputerMyWay now, and then go into Melter. Thanks. And scrolling down, and say talking to your device. Now, narrator. Okay. So narrator is basically a screen reader for visually impaired people. It's good, but it's limited. What I would say is that it's really, really useful speech recognition built into Windows, which is almost, not quite, but almost as good as Dragon. And what we would say, and it's amazing how many people don't know about this. So for someone who's got dyslexia, getting difficulties with getting stuff done, I would always say, look, go and look at Windows voice recognition, and we've got people that can come out and volunteer and give step-by-step instructions. On to fact sheets about JAWS. Simple answer is no, we don't do fact sheets on specific products. We as an organisation, try to steer people away from JAWS. Not that JAWS is a bad package, far from it, but JAWS stands for Job Access Without Sight, and it was really designed for people who are in work. And what we would say for the majority of people who are visually impaired and using a screen reader at home, JAWS isn't going to be the package for them. JAWS is like the equivalent of passing your driving test and your first car is a Ferrari or sort of Bugatti, whereas you might be having a Mini or Fiesta. So basically the point is that JAWS is at the high end of the spectrum. Now, Mark is just showing you the voice recognition fact sheet. Voice recognition is quite a big area, and we try and cut it down into lots of little bite-sized chunks. But once again, if you've got difficulties with getting to grips with the language, just call us and we can help.
Great, thanks, Alex. The other point to make, of course, is if this is the sort of question that you've got about, the question actually was, I didn't tell you all of it, Alex, but somebody was, Jessica was asking, do you have fact sheets on using JAWS to output to Braille? I need to support a student with this, but don't know where to start. I just want to emphasize that that's exactly what we can help with. So Jessica, if you just want to give Alex a call, then even if he doesn't know the answer immediately, then at least he can hear, listen to what the sorts of things you're trying to do are and make some suggestions. And you're always welcome to ring back. This isn't a once only thing. And I know that Alex speaks to people a lot who we've spoken to before, who come back for further advice. Software changes, the systems change on the, in terms of all the computer stuff, but of course the people change as well, and the preferences change, and they move from one particular piece of software to another because they don't like how it works or their needs change. So we're very happy to continually offer advice and support to anybody working with disabled people, not just the disabled people themselves, and if necessary, refer you on to other specialist information and support, depending on what it is that you're trying to do. So that brings us to a close. Thank you very much for joining us today. If you do need to speak to Alex, he's certainly the first place I would suggest you turn to with this sort of types of things we covered today. Give him a call on 0800 269 545. That's open during office hours. The fact sheets are available on our website at abilitynet.org.uk/factsheets. You can access MyComputerMyWay at mycomputermyway.com. As I mentioned earlier, all these slides are available on SlideShare, www.slideshare.net/AbilityNet. You can follow us on Twitter at AbilityNet, and we also use Facebook to share news and information, particularly out to help, particularly around disability and connecting with other disability causes. So please do get in touch with us there as well and follow us and keep up to date with information. We run webinars like this all the time. So you can also check on our website, abilitynet.org.uk/webinars. And we send information out through email newsletters and so on. You can sign up for news from us. So a huge thank you to Alex. I can see, just so you know, Alex, there's several big thank yous, and there's a comment saying fabulous, thank you, that was really great session. So congratulations, Alex, to you particularly. I thought that was really interesting. And to everybody else, thank you very much for joining us, and as I say, look out for the recordings and the other information transcript to follow if you need to share it. Thank you.
Bye.
Goodbye.